So let's get us started with introducing who you're going to be hearing from today. So we'll start with you, Dr. Carr, and go through.
Good evening. Great to have you on the webinar. I'm Dave Carr. I am the coordinator for the online Masters in Soccer Coaching program. I've been at Ohio for 25 years and have been involved in coaching education at Ohio for the last 20 plus. So glad to have you all on the call.
Hi everyone, welcome tonight. My name is Dr. Ashley Allenson. I'm the Assistant Professor of Instruction and a cohort facilitator in both our Masters on campus as well as our online programs and obviously in the soccer program. I'm originally from England, a place called Hull. My background is an ex-professional soccer player, professional academy soccer coach with Hull City Tigers, who I played for, and as well as Scunthorpe United. And I've been at Ohio since 2017. So my background is very soccer based, and I'm kind of teach different courses, and I look forward to kind of working with you if you come into our program.
Stephen, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, hello. Excuse me, my information is not on the slide, but I'm Dr. Harvey, so I'm a colleague of Dr. Carr and Dr. Allenson. I make up the trio of the faculty. I'm the program coordinator in coaching, health and physical education. I'm originally from England too, so I have a bit of a soccer background. I used to coach collegiate level women's soccer back in the UK, and now coach youth soccer here in Ohio. And I've also a field hockey coaching background in badminton. So that's me.
Letitia?
Yes, so hi everyone. I'm so glad to be with you all tonight. So my name is Letitia Price, pronouns she, hers, her. And so I'm the graduate assistant coordinator here for the online soccer coaching program. I'm also doing my doctoral program in research and education, looking at the FIFA governance. Apologies, sorry, my screen just changed significantly. So looking at FIFA governance and analysing the coaching education approaches within FIFA itself. And I have an extensive coaching and playing background, professionally and internationally, derivative from the UK or England. And I'll pass it over to Lisa Dow to introduce herself.
Muted.
Sorry about that. It has to happen at least once. I am the Assistant Director of Online and Outreach Programs at Ohio University. I've been with the university 20 plus years and spent most of it working with online education. A lot of what I do for this program is to help with administrative questions, things like tuition and fees, registration, payment plans, what do you do if you're ready to graduate, those kind of things. And I back up the faculty to help them with any issues that they have so that they can take their time to teach and don't have to worry about some of those other extraneous issues.
And last but not least, my name is Tasha Attaway, and I am in a support role. My title is Digital Recruitment and Retention Manager. I work with online graduate programs, and my purpose and the way that I interact with you is that I'm a great resource if you have questions about the application process or just any general questions as well. The bottom line is, if I don't know, I can find someone who can. So I'm always here to be a resource for you, and I'm happy to meet you all.
So we do also have two amazing MSc alumni guests with us today, and that's Maggie Sherman and Kaya Edwards. You will hear from them later on in the webinar, so we will wait for them in anticipation to introduce themselves. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Dr. Carr to kick us off.
And if you could put the slides up, that would help get us through.
This is what happened. So for some reason it stopped sharing. There we go.
There we go. And again, welcome. And I want to give you a short history of our coaching education program, in that we've been at this for a long time. We proposed a master's degree program primarily for our campus-based graduate students back in 2000, and we launched our first class in 2001. So we're approaching our 20-year anniversary of coaching education at Ohio University. There was a need based on information that we were able to collect over the years to make the program available online. So we did all the work that was necessary, and we launched a online version of our campus-based program in 2008. We refer to that program as the MCE. It is designed for all sports, all levels of coaching. And so we have quite a group of coaches from all over the country, actually a few from outside the country, and probably representing somewhere in the neighborhood of 15, 16 different sports currently enrolled in the program. Because of my background, my colleagues that I've been working with for years, we opted to create a master's in soccer coaching. We proposed it to the faculty in 2012. We launched it in the summer of 2013. And actually, to this date, it is still the only sports-specific master's degree in coaching in the United States. So we're very proud of this program. It has a now 8-year track record, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the program as we go forward.
Thank you, Dr. Carr. So as you'll see on the slide now, these are just some of our most recent successes that we are really, really proud of, and that really kind of highlight and exemplify the significant impact we're having on the soccer coaching community nationally, but also globally. So you'll see there, in 2021, so the start of this year, we received the nomination for an appreciation award at the United Soccer Coaches Convention. Really exciting. We were nominated by some of our actual MSc alumni folks who felt that this program really impacted them significantly within their coaching career and felt we needed to be appreciated for it. And it's really interesting. Dr. Carr got the privilege to receive this award or receive the nomination in the comfort of his home office in South Carolina virtually. So I'm assuming that was quite an unusual experience to have to receive that nomination.
Yeah.
So secondly, this partnership. So you'll hear throughout us saying United Soccer Coaches and this very partnership that we have. We're really proud of the partnership that we've built with United Soccer Coaches over the period of time of this program, and it really solidifies the true impact we're having with the soccer coaching education for the US and also globally as well. This partnership doesn't only benefit our program per se, but it also benefits the members within our program, and the individuals get to receive opportunities that they wouldn't necessarily receive if they weren't a part of the program. So equity and diversity in national education, what a mouthful. But nonetheless, I recently been involved with the United Soccer Coaches Advocacy Group, and they've reached out to us to help them craft some of the equity and diversity education that is delivered across their national diplomas. They really want to revamp their equity and diversity inclusions, and they also want to revamp and recreate a different tone and ensure there's an importance focus on equity and diversity. So again, we're really proud that they reached out to us, but I think again it exemplifies the credibility of our program and the information and education that we can provide. So Dr. Carr didn't necessarily mention this at the start, but Dr. Carr is on the board of directors of United Soccer Coaches. Excitingly, in 2023, he will be also the president. So whilst this might seem like it only impacts the program per se, but again, it benefits those that are within the program because we get to really receive high-level information that we wouldn't necessarily receive if we hadn't had this really strong relationship and we hadn't had Dr. Carr within that board of directors realm. Finally, from a kind of scholarly standpoint, We are, myself and Dr. Carr, are on the editorial journal board of the Journal of Soccer. We have several recent publications across our staff within the soccer program, myself included. So we think this really kind of, again, exemplifies the empirical element that we provide the soccer coaching education community. So what sets us apart? So we know that coaching education is a really competitive domain, especially in the US, especially from an online perspective, but especially from a global perspective as well, and especially now, the pandemic that we're living in. So what sets our program apart? So we are the only soccer-specific master's degree in the country. This goes without saying. We are pioneers technically within this field, and we're really proud of being a part of being the only soccer-specific master's degree in the country and being the pioneers and trailblazers of the coaching education attached with soccer. We are the best online university in the state of Ohio. So Dr. Carr mentioned earlier on the brief history. We have such an exceptional history and involvement in online education. So this hasn't just come about because of the recent virtual landscape we're in. We really have been doing this for a long time, especially in terms of coaching education. So we really position ourselves as experts in online pedagogies. So it's no surprise that the university in itself has been nominated and identified as the best online university in the state of Ohio. We don't say this lightly, and I don't say this lightly, and this isn't also hyperbole. We really do have internationally renowned faculty and staff in soccer coaching, in our soccer coaching program, sorry. The experience and the depth of knowledge that we have across our program is almost ineffable to describe in terms of not only in their coaching education, but also in the experiences they've had as a coaching educator, but also as a player. So we are really proud of those that deliver some of the education on our program, those that inform our programs, those that are connected with our programs. We really do have such a plethora of knowledge and experience across our entire program. So with that, you can obviously imagine having such a depth of expertise. We really do have a leading curriculum in soccer coaching education that has been guided and crafted by all of the expertise that are involved in the program and all those that you hear from today on this webinar. So we're really proud and excited by the kind of rich and robust curriculum that we provide for our Masters in Soccer Coaching students. And finally, you get to network with soccer coaches from all over the world. So we really do pride ourselves on attracting coaches just like yourself from all over the world and from all sorts of different cultures, countries, speaking various different languages. And that provides such an enriching experience for all of those within the program. And to ensure that our MSc students can benefit from that, what we ensure is that we provide a real sense of belonging within your cohort. So by providing that sense of belonging, you get to network with all those different coaches from all different corners of the world and learn from the different ways that soccer coaching is really being done globally. Because I think there's still a lot that we can learn and benefit from sharing that international knowledge and then creating that sense of belonging and that sense of network by being a part of this program. And I will now pass it back over to Dr. Carr.
Yeah, thanks, Letitia. I recognized quite a few years ago that getting more educated in a variety of different responsibilities that coaches generally have was a necessity. So that led us to start with our campus-based coaching education masters, and we've built on that initial aspect over the last 20 years. More and more positions at every level are requiring advanced levels of education. More and more positions are requiring a master's degree. So our approach is if you have a master's degree in soccer coaching, and you're applying for a master's for a soccer coaching position, it will put you in really good stead to have that foundational knowledge base, and you've built on it through experience and other aspects of your learning to prepare you for almost any position. It is a global game. There are opportunities at every level. We have students in the program that function at the youth level. They work in the club environment. Many have aspired to directors of coaching or technical directors. We have school-based or interscholastic coaches at the junior high and high school level, both boys and girls. We have intercollegiate coaches at every level, NAIA, Division III, Division II, and Division I. And we also have a number of our alumni and actually a couple of current students working at the professional level. So there are lots of opportunities, and we've recognized that the education that you can get from our world-renowned faculty should open a whole lot of doors for you, and we're seeing that with our current students and our alumni in opportunities that they've had since they've been in the program. So we're excited about the future. The online program is designed to connect you to United Soccer Coaches, and we have 2 in-person residencies. The first one could be in the summer, if for those students starting in the summer, and we've generally had students come to campus for about 5 days and engage with the faculty and meet each other, meet staff, do a lot of on-field work, get into the aspects of how to coach and actually work with players. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that because of COVID. So we've created a virtual residency in the summer, and we've tried to connect people with some of the top people in the field across the multiple different disciplines that make up coaching. So we will have that opportunity this coming summer. The other residency takes place at the United Soccer Coaches Convention. This January, we did a virtual convention, and every one of our students had access to the entire convention session. There were 56 different sessions, social events, meetings, advocacy council meetings, a whole series of other opportunities that were made available virtually through the folks in Kansas City. But we are actually looking forward to having a face-to-face residency this coming January in Kansas City. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can make that happen. And again, when we meet face-to-face, we have access to field sessions, classroom sessions, seminars, all kinds of networking, access to the exhibit hall, and sort of connect all of our students with everybody that typically is in attendance at the National Convention. So we kind of bookend our curriculum with a residency in the front and a residency towards the end. And the rest of it involves 9 content-specific online courses that we'll get into here in a minute. Here is a list of the courses. The first 2 obviously are the 2 residency courses. The Psychology of Coaching course is Dr. Allenson's course that he delivers for us. Dr. Joe Fabian, who is a graduate of our program and is an MD, teaches our injury prevention and risk management. Dr. Fabian may be the only MD with a master's in soccer coaching on the planet, so we're happy to have him involved. We have an ethics and diversity course that I teach. Dr. Harvey has taught this class. Letitia is involved in delivering this particular course. Dr. Harvey teaches the Coaching Soccer, the Beautiful Game. It's a coaching pedagogy course gets into methodology and all kinds of different teaching strategies. The youth player development course focuses on coaching players 12 and under. It is taught by Sam Snow. Sam is the former director of coaching for U.S. Youth Soccer and has been a faculty member with us since we started the program. Advanced player development focused on the advanced player. That player can be in lots of different environments. Dr. Tom Turner, who is the director of coaching for Ohio North, is teaching that class, and he's been the director of coaching for Ohio North since 1993, and has been all over the world working on player development concepts. Dr. Don Kirkendall, who's an Ohio University alum, works with FIFA and is an exercise physiologist, and soccer is his primary sport. So he teaches our training and conditioning for soccer coaches course. And then the analysis of sport performance for coaches is a class that I typically teach, but we have a number of our faculty that can jump in and lend their expertise to analyzing player development, analyzing player performance, analyzing coaching behavior, all kinds of other aspects that we have available in this class. So that's sort of a snapshot of our curriculum.
Thank you, Dr. Carr. So as we've mentioned, this program really is the pioneer in soccer coaching education. And we have had such a breadth of really high quality MSc alumni come through the program. And I think, again, it's just reflective of the quality of our own program and what we can provide for future soccer coaches. So I am sure we are in Vlatko's thoughts tonight as he leads the US women's national team against Argentina in the She Believes Cup. And I'm sure he's taking on many things that he learned in the program and perhaps, I'm sure, implementing them in tonight. But as you can see from the quote on the slide, it's really reflective of the value of the program that's allowed him to kind of pursue his career dreams to become, and I don't mind saying this as an English person, that he has become the head coach of one of soccer's best international teams. So I think that quote really epitomizes the alumni, but also the impact this program can have on your coaching career trajectory. So without further ado, as I mentioned at the start, we do have some MSc alumni guests with us, and I'm really excited to introduce them. I know that one of them, I'm actually going to stop presenting them so I can actually see my fellow alumni. Yay, that makes me happy. So I did get a last minute message. The other alumni that's meant to be with us is Kai Edwards. But unfortunately, life happens. He is a very busy head coach, but also is very busy with his other love, and that is family. So we know he has some huge family commitments to be a good person in the household, but also on the field. But without further ado, we do have Maggie Sherman here, who I will allow her to introduce herself, and then we'll get into some questions that I'll pose to Maggie to kind of provide her golden wisdom for our MSc prospects. Maggie, over to you.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I apologize if my Wi-Fi is a little weird. I've been messing with it, trying to get it good. But yeah, so kind of a little bit of my background. I grew up in a small ski town in Colorado, then kind of made my way playing soccer for Colorado State. I was a part of their first ever Division I women's program there, and fell in love with soccer even more after that, and got into coaching as an intern. And from there, I moved back home. I was a high school coach for 5 years, coaching both boys and girls, and then found this program. And now I am my first ever Division I coaching position, helping Kai with the Southern Utah University women's program. So it's been a great, it's been a great kind of trajectory of soccer, and I love to be part of it. So I'll be here.
Great, thank you so much, Maggie. We are catching you, don't worry. Wi-Fi is a little bit letting you down a little bit, but we'll work with it nonetheless. So to allow your Wi-Fi to recover from the golden wisdom that you're about to provide, the first question that I'm going to pose to you, nice easy one to get you started. Why did you choose this program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was kind of similar to what I was saying, how the master's degree was starting to be a requirement for college coaching. And that was eventually what I wanted to do. So I started researching, and I knew soccer was going to be what I wanted to do for my career. And this was the only soccer-focused program, and that was what really took me. And the more research I did, the more conversations I had, better I developed joining the program. So that's really, I knew soccer was it, and I wanted to join the only soccer program, or the only soccer master's program that exists.
Awesome. I think we caught the end of that. Maggie, if you are struggling, I'm happy for you to type out your answers in the chat, and I am more than happy to try and convey the wisdom nonetheless. If not, as Tasha has mentioned in the chat, maybe turn off your video so we can get the full scope of the amazing things that you're telling.
Or yeah, I'll see if I can relocate, and that might help as well.
Eyes joined.
Oh, Kai's here. Hey.
And then with that, to expand our Wi-Fi bandwidth, we do have Kai. Kai, I did mention to our guests tonight that you have some other commitments in terms of love, your second love, which is that as being a great family man. But nonetheless, now you're here. I'm so proud that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. Do you want to just quickly introduce yourself while Maggie sorts her Wi-Fi and camera situation out?
Yeah, definitely. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, sorry about that, guys, but appreciate you having me. I've been running around. I'm the head coach here at Southern Utah University. So running around organizing, COVID and games and practices and recruiting, and was on the phone with a goalkeeper 10 minutes ago, and also have a, 14-month baby. So I was running around with that. We just told people my wife's pregnant with our second baby. She's almost 6 months pregnant. So running around, feeding the pregnant lady while chasing the baby down while recruiting players. So if my baby runs in soon, that's why. But during this course, I changed jobs twice, states 2 or 3 times, tore my Achilles and couldn't walk, had a baby, a lot of fun things. And I mean, without me being asked a question, I'll just say my quick advice is never stop and keep going forward. I'm old, and if I would have ever stopped, I would have never started back up again. Dave had to talk me off the C's get degrees a couple times when I asked what's the minimum score I need in this class to just survive and move on. But I ended up with, I think, all A's and a B in a class that I probably should be really good at, which is the social media class or whatever it was. That was my worst grade, was the technology class, but all A's. And I think the biggest things are keep moving forward, ask a bunch of questions. For me, it's probably the only master's I could have got in my entire life. I started my kines master's at St. Mary's College, quit after a semester of passing 3 classes because I was bored out of my mind. And I was a head coach, but here I was able to do a lot of my projects I did with my club team or my college team at the time. So amazing course. But at the moment you don't think you can do it, solve the problem and keep moving forward, because I can't imagine it's fun to stop and start with another cohort. And me and Maggie were joking about it today, about different cohorts jumping in and catching up in a class, and they'd ask you something in the discussion board and you'd be like, who are you? Like, what are you asking us these questions for? So keep moving forward, get that degree, have fun. That's all I had. And if anyone has questions, I don't know where we are in the segment, but that is also my personality.
Kai, I really appreciate that. And I think it's because you touched on one of the most important considerations of being a coach, and especially when you take this program, is that we have so many things going on, and you all have so many things going on. And I want to appreciate you both for sharing such generous time with us tonight, because I know you both are very busy and we continue to be very, very busy. So I think that leads on really nicely into the second question that I was going to ask you, is how do you think this course kind of helped you kind of get to where you are today, knowing that even, Kai, as you mentioned, you were very busy throughout the course. You had a lot going on, but you know, you're still very busy now. You have so many other loves and commitments going on. So how do you think the course helped you or aided you to be effective in the role that you're in today?
Has Maggie already answered this question?
No, she hasn't. So either one of you can take the lead.
Maggie, go first.
Yeah. Better now?
Yes.
So much better. Thank you so much.
Okay. Woo. Yeah, so gosh, I mean, for me, the best part about it was the networking. Meeting everybody that was on the course, that we met through the course, our professors, I mean, the connections we made at the convention, that was kind of the best part of everything. And I think right now what it's helped me kind of understand is how to handle a lot at once. And that I'm learning a lot about that in the college world, is that there's a lot going on. It's not just, okay, we focus on practice and then that's it. It's practice, recruiting, I mean, meals, getting ready for trips. There's just so much more into it. And so kind of finding the best ways to manage all that and make the most of it. So I learned a lot of time management as well through that. But my favorite part obviously was definitely meeting everybody and doing all that. So that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I mean, I would say one of the main reasons I did it was Dr. Carr, and I just went completely blank on his name. Goalkeeper.
Dr.
Stefan. Stefan hounded me for about 8 years at every single convention on why I haven't done it. And I was sitting in the stands at Arizona State. My wife was our grad assistant at Arizona State. And she was walking across the stage, and I was sitting in the stands. I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I Facebook messaged Dr. Stefan and emailed Carr. He said, get your stuff in. And I literally, from my wife graduating to starting school, was about 6.5 weeks, and just went in. And one of the main reasons was I used to be a Division I head coach, and then I was let go for poor performance. We didn't perform well enough, and I went on a journey of I always say, like, fill your toolbox. So I went and got the wrench. I was a director of ops at Arizona State. I went and worked with one of the best coaches in the world, and Greg Ryan at Michigan. Learned a lot about video. Worked at Oakland. Worked in the DA. Was the director of ECNL. And then it was still, well, okay, what are you missing? Well, you don't have a master's. So I took every reason away from every admin in the world to say no. And so at first, I won't lie, I really wanted a master's. It was, I wanted to coach college soccer. And if that's what they were going to ask for, then I was going to go get it. So that's kind of why I did it. Hold on, presentation. So that's kind of why I did it, was to kind of put more tools in my toolbox and put myself in position to, you know, where someone can't say no. I got my A license, DA, GA, any letter alphabet I've coached in, and coached with a World Cup coach and in a BCS conference and a non-BCS, and it was more just keep putting in different. Every time I got denied from a job, I asked why, and you know, one time someone said, you don't have a master's. I said, okay, then I'll go get one. Right. So I just kept, you know, one time it was because you haven't worked in the BCS. Okay, there's no job open. I'll go volunteer in the BCS. Then I got a job in the BCS. So it was one of those, just, you know, fill the pie, a space until there is a job opening.
Love that, Kai. And I love that we've got the next future generation, Edwards, of our MSc, future MSc soccer candidate right there.
Yeah, she's going to get her degree at like 22 and not 40.
Oh, I bet. And I feel like we should mention at this point, you both met on this program and ended up working together because from being involved in this program, correct?
So Maggie's not a great storyteller, so I'll tell her. So we were
Best
in
storyteller.
a program together and never met each other before. And fast forward a year and a half after starting the program, we were in Baltimore or whatever state we were in. And I had just got the Southern Utah job, and we were looking for a goalkeeper coach. And we were on the last day of our in-person at the convention, and we were all, it was Steph and me and Dave, and all of us were at probably a bar or a restaurant, most likely a bar. And we sat there, and I looked at her and I was like, well, why are you still coaching high school? She's like, well, I want to coach college. And I said, well, I'll give you a job. And she said, are you serious? I said, yep, go home and let me know in about a week. And it was literally from this course that I was like, I need a goalkeeper coach, someone I know, someone, I obviously went through something right over the last year and a half. And I basically randomly never went to the convention thinking about offering Maggie a position, but was literally just sitting there on the last day and turned to her and was like, well, I'll give you a spot. And Steph, I remember, looked at her like, take it. And Maggie had to go home, talk to her mom, talk to other people, but ended up moving out here 4 or 5 months later after taking the job because COVID had hit. And now she's our pretty much full-time goalkeeper coach who trains our goalies and coaches at a local club also. And there you go.
I think that's one of my favorite MSc alumni stories ever. So Kai, I know you've given your words of wisdom and advice for future MSc prospects. So Maggie, I'm going to turn to you. What advice would you give to future MSc student coaches for the program, but also perhaps for their coaching career as well?
Yeah, similar to Kai, there's going to be times in the program where it's going to seem like it's going to be a lot, whether you're coaching or traveling or moving or whatever. The best advice I can give is to communicate with your professors and let them know what's going on in your life. They are very, very understanding of what's going on, but they also want to see you succeed, and they don't want to have to, see you drop out or, delay or whatever. So just communicate as often as possible, but it is possible to do the program on time. You just have to, you really kind of get after it and make the time for it. And then in soccer, in regular, our day-to-day coaching, I think just pulling pieces that really stick out to you, because every aspect of the program is gonna hit differently. So whether it's learning about recovery and all that, Kai uses that a lot with kind of our week to week and when do we have games, how do we recover, and all that. And then how do we, communicate with our team on, people to people basis? Can we find ways, with Dr. Allison's course of psychology and really connecting with your players and how you find that. So I think that using those things are going to be the kind of the keys to success just within coaching. And so if you can find those little gems here and there and use those on your daily coaching coaching practices and games and whatnot, I think you're going to find success outside of the program as well.
Thank you so much. Kai, any other little last words of golden wisdom that I know you always have?
I would call myself a straightforward realist. Sometimes it's just going to suck. And, it's going to be usually around the research course because it's just a lot. I'm dyslexic, so reading a million books and writing a bunch of papers is not the most fun thing for a dyslexic auditory learner. But I even got a lot of my stuff online, audio, because I don't read well, but I obviously talk decent sometimes. But one of the things that was very big was, it's okay to it just suck and you write a paper at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's gonna happen at some point, and you might sit there and say, oh, it's too much. No, I was at a school that we changed the word to life stress. It's just part of life sometimes where, you're having a kid, you have this, you have a game, you're breaking down video for your game. Oh, and I have something due in 3 days. I might just do it at 2 a.m. tonight so I don't even have to worry about it, in 2 days. And one thing I thought was beneficial, most of them give you the weekly breakdown, 7 weeks in advance. And I remember sending to someone like, I think it was Dr. Allison, was, hey, my kids due like on finals week. Like, can I either get it the week before or do it the week after? Like, I know, but I communicated that 5 weeks in advance, and they're willing to work with you in those points. I would say one of my biggest challenges was literally the course I probably should have been the very best in. What was that course called? Like technology or something like that?
Utilizing technology in sport.
Yeah, which is arguably my number one strength as a coach, is everything from social media to heart rate monitors. And it was my lowest grade because I butted heads with the teacher, and we went heads up on many things, and I questioned him in a couple things. One time I did it rudely. Most of the time I did it respectfully. And he came back and asked me to prove what I'm calling him out on, and I did, and went back and forth, and it ended up being a very interesting course, even though shocking it's my worst grade, and research was my best, and it shouldn't have been. But I think it was more not the grade, but the interaction in it, and knowing you can still get something out of disagreeing with someone. But then, like, our class was super close, the in group that made it to the end. Like, we still talk. We had a happy hour a couple weeks ago on Zoom, and like, a couple of us are college coaches, a couple of us are club coaches. So, bouncing ideas off of, how do you cut a player? How do you run a training session in a 2-week span? What are some ideas in COVID? Like, I mean, the number of ideas we've run ourselves through, along with, like what Maggie said, going to psychology of courses, and, you accidentally later start bringing up stuff you didn't know you were going to do. You're like, oh yeah, I think I wrote like I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I quoted like a paper I wrote. I quoted myself and sent it to our sports performance people, and they actually took it because we were talking about recovery and travel. And I had done a paper on a U17 rugby traveling on flights, and we ended up buying compression socks for our team and water, and went through all the stages of it because I wrote a long paper on that and cold water immersion. And I sent it to our whole department, and they were like, you wrote a full research paper on this? So you'd be shocked what you might end up using later also. And in the end, like, Maggie's way more studious than me. I'll say in the end, just get the degree and have fun.
Thank you both so much. We really appreciate your time and being so generous with it, and being generous with your knowledge as well and information. We know you have really busy lives, so thank you so much.
Thanks, Kai. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you, Kai. Yes, thank you, Maggie. We hope if you want to stay on, feel free to stay on. I know you're really busy, so feel free to hop off. But again, I hope you all join me in giving them a round of applause, and best of luck for your season, of what is going to be your season. So
Ciao.
We are now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye to the future generation of MSc. So we're now making our way towards the latter part of the webinar. I'm actually going to pass it over to Dr. Ash Allenson, who is going to provide you some really rich information of the types of experiences you can expect whilst on this MSc soccer coaching program.
Thanks for that, Letitia. I appreciate it. And kind of just going off and echoing some of the comments that Kai and Maggie mentioned. This is all about kind of the student experience, and as you can tell, they've had a rich experience that they had throughout their journey here, and just some of the aspects within the kind of student experience that you will undergo and you'll also experience is that every course is run in a 7-week process, and basically you take one course at a time, so that you don't ever get overwhelmed, and you'll always take 2 courses per semester, and that's including summer. So there'll be one course in the first 7 weeks of a semester. So coming up, obviously, if you enroll in the program for the summer, you'll do a one course plus a residency, and then the second part of the summer you'll do the second course. And then also within that, in the fall you'll do the fall, the spring, and then you could be done in 5 semesters. Before you come into that experience, there is a graduate student orientation that you must undertake, which is also online. And that is something that you need to do before you finish the first semester. That's an online module that assists you with your transition into graduate school and talks about kind of the logistics of working through yourself as a graduate student. Every course is actually delivered through a learning management system called Blackboard. And the Blackboard will be where you submit everything, where you gain access to everything. So there'll be readings, there'll be videos to watch, video lectures. And this is where you'll submit your assessments, and all the information then will be done through this Blackboard course. And each course opens up once you're enrolled into it. And then the professor can contact you through that, and all communication can go through email and Blackboard. So throughout the kind of student experience, you'll also kind of submit different assessments. And one thing that we try to do in the program is implement different varied assessments throughout the program. So examples of these assessments can range through small discussion boards like Kai mentioned, where you're talking with your peers. Could be traditional papers like Kai mentioned as well. So you've got to write kind of like graduate essay papers, and there might be some quizzes and exams. But one of the things that we pride ourselves on at Ohio University, and especially in the soccer program, is to do more authentic and interactive assessments. And these are things like you might deliver presentations. So in my course, you run presentations through a voice thread, which is an application where you could submit a PowerPoint and then you can do a voiceover or a video recording over that. There'll be times you could submit in coaching session plans based on a certain concept. Then we might ask you to video yourself performing a coaching session. So you might take a 20-minute part of your coaching session, video yourself, and then we as professors can give feedback on how you're trying to implement some of the concepts that we're trying to integrate into the course, as well as see what your coaching styles and coaching methods are like, and give you some feedback and some advice on that. There's also things that I implement in my courses that where groups can do group podcasts. So you can have conversation in a live Zoom session with one another that allows people to interact and talk about certain topics, and it becomes a little bit more informal, which is very different to most kind of graduate school programs and graduate school assessments, where even though you're getting assessed, you're still talking about something that's very relevant, but it's just done in a different format. It's a lot more authentic. There's a lot more connection with one another as a student, because you are on an online program. We need to connect with you from professor to student, and also student to student and student to professor. And that's important. So what we try and do is make all our assessments applicable to your own coaching environment. So the coaching environment that you see yourself coaching in, the coaching environment that you might actually be coaching in, and you're going to take them theoretical concepts that we're trying to embed into our program, and then you're going to practically apply it in your coaching practice. And Kai and Maggie alluded to that quite a lot in their discussions. Also, every student is allocated a faculty advisor. Dr. Carr's normally the faculty advisor, and I've also done a bit of faculty advising as well in the program, even though I'm more for the online Masters in Coaching program, but I will be transitioning more into that faculty advisor role for the Masters in Soccer Coaching. So that person will work with you throughout the program. The advisor will send out communication to the students, telling them what courses to enroll in. They're going to assist the student through any issues they might be going through. And Kai alluded to a lot with Maggie that they have life issues where then individuals can reach out to the professor can work with them, and the advisor can work with the professors as well as the student to make sure they're available to answer any questions that you might have in order to get you through the program the best way we can, because at the end of the day, it's your experience. Finally, there is also an accessibility student service that we have at Ohio University, which gives equal opportunities for everybody, and that's something that we pride ourselves on at the university. Kai mentioned kind of like his dyslexia. So somebody that might feel like they might struggle and may have some sort of disability, may feel like they don't have that equal opportunity, then this is where the accessibility services can come in. And we've got a woman called Nina Henderson, who's an unbelievable coordinator. She coordinates with the faculty very well, the students, and basically we try to navigate that process as much as we can. An example of that is we've actually had a deaf and hard of hearing students. So we might have to caption videos, and we might have to change some content slightly for that individual to make that accessible and make them have that equal opportunity, which is massively important for our student experience that we are trying to give as faculty and as faculty members here at OU in the program.
Thanks, Ash.
Okay, now on to one of the topics people don't necessarily want to talk about, but we want to be upfront with you on what the costs involved and what aid may be available to help you out. So in-state tuition versus out-of-state tuition, in-state is $505 per credit hour, so that'll be $585 times 30. Or if you are out-of-state or international, it'll be $603 per credit hour times 30. And that will cover your any of your online instruction. We also have associated fees. There is a United Soccer Coaches membership that you will need to purchase, and that is $125. We also have a cost for textbooks. Those tend to run about $200 to $300. Not all classes may have books. Some classes may use the same book so that we can try to keep the cost down for you. We do, in some cases, use human kinetics books that we have a special rate that we can get for those. And one of the important things is the texts that are chosen by the faculty very specifically to help you in your career. So it's not something you're buying just for that class. It's something that you can keep using once you're done with the program. The reason we give a range of $200 to $300 is because you can purchase that book anywhere, any of the books that you need, wherever you like. There are some required books and some optional, and the faculty will let you know what those are. And so we do give you that flexibility to purchase where you want to get yourself the best deal. We don't want to have to require that you purchase from somewhere at a set price. One of the other expenses you may have, you can opt to purchase coaching software. It's a sports session planner, and it is optional. It's $56 per year for the subscription, but it is something that's available so that you can use as part of your program. Lastly, the other associated fees are the residencies. For those of you that would be starting right now, the summer residency would be free because it's going to be virtual. It will not be in person, unfortunately. But the in-person residencies run about $200 to $300. The cost of the United Soccer Coaches Convention is waived due to a partnership we have with them. So you would have things like housing and meal expenses there, but we try to make that absolutely as affordable as we possibly can and get you the best deals, because we do realize that this is an added expense in your budget, and we want to make it as affordable as we can. I will also mention there's a link on the slide to the Bursar's office. We accept e-checks and credit cards. We will also still do snail mail payments, and for international students, we accept wire payments. The nice thing about our payment plans, you can actually sign up for one for $30. And for instance, for the summer, your first payment would be due May 21st, and then June 21st, and then July 21st for summer. Your payments are always due on the 21st, so that you are aware of that. And you can definitely check out the payment options page. And if you would have any questions about that, Tasha and I would be glad to help you. And as she said, if we don't know the answer, we will find it for you. One way we try to help out also is to let you know that we have financial aid. You do have to sign up for at least 5 credit hours, which is why we've set every semester up to be 6 credit hours, so you definitely meet that requirement to qualify for aid. You would need to fill out the FAFSA. That's available at studentaid.gov, and you can easily do a search for that. But you fill out the FAFSA form each year to see what aid you qualify for. And because we've been doing this a long time, Ohio University actually has 2 dedicated individuals who work specifically with financial aid for online programs. So if money is available or there's some kind of funding available, they will know about it and be able to help you find it. We've got Stephen Kowalczyk, who handles students with the last name of A through L, and Lisa Butler, who handles last names M through Z. And if you would have any issues about financial aid or questions, you can reach out. The financial aid email is right there. As I said, they're experts. They will help find other resources beyond your FAFSA financial aid forms. Sometimes they know about private loans that are available. And one other thing, they may also have other suggestions, such as consider asking your employer if they have a tuition reimbursement plan, or if there's some kind of an education fund that you can use to help with the costs. And Ohio University is a yellow ribbon school. So if you have served in the military, the U.S. military, we are a military-friendly school, and you can use your GI Bill to pay for your courses. We have a veteran center specifically set up to work with veterans to make sure that we meet their needs, and are following all special policies and procedures required by the military. So you can see there that the www.ohio.edu/veteran center is the address. You can check there if you want to do some investigating for information about that. As I said, we're always glad to help. If you have questions, we know it can be a challenge to navigate all of these different offices, and even when you're here on campus. So that's why Tasha and I are here to help if you need additional assistance. And then you'll see here on this screen, there's actually a QR code where you can click on that, or you can scan that to apply. We've also put the address down below. You can apply online at any time. There is no prerequisite for any particular type of a bachelor's degree in order to apply for the program, which makes it very nice and very flexible. We do recommend that you have at least a 2.75 GPA from your undergraduate degree. We will look at how you've done maybe more in your junior, senior year to kind of weigh that. But if you can have a 2.75, that's usually sufficient to be accepted. The application checklist does have several parts to it. You will need to submit a resume, 3 letters of recommendation, official transcripts, a personal statement of goals, and there is a $50 application fee. You do not have to have all of these different items when you do the application. If you decided tomorrow that you wanted to click on the application and apply, you can start the application process, save it, and then go back and submit these letters as you have them. And then they will get added, put into the application. And our staff are all very good, and our faculty are great at looking at what applications are available and ready to go, and can get an approval done pretty quickly. So as long as you have these things, you would be all set. And I'm going to turn this over to Tasha now.
Oh, Dr. Carr, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, I was thanking Lisa.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Well, I just wanted to just encourage you to connect with the Ohio Coaching Education programs on social media, because there's a lot of information that goes out when there are events that are coming up. We publicize those there. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and just look for Ohio Coaching Ed. And I'm going to paste these URLs into the chat just to make them easier to have. But Ohio Coaching Ed on social media, again, there's a lot of resources and information that we share, articles, and a big one Dr. Harvey had posted in the chat earlier about a symposium that he is hosting. He's the primary impetus behind this positive pedagogy virtual symposium, and that's going to be on March 20th in the afternoon, 1 to 5 p.m. EST, and that event is free, and it's bringing together, again, a global roster of coaching excellence. So registration is required, so follow that link and get your registration in, because if you are at all serious about coaching, you'll want to be at this session.
So thank you, Tasha. Thank you, Lisa, as well. Thank you to our MSc alumni. Thank you, Dr. Harvey, also for posting several really useful bits of information in the chat. Thank you, Dr. Allenson, for providing such an amazing overview of the types of experiences you can expect as being on the MSc Soccer Coaching Education Program. So this really is an opportunity for you to ask us any questions. But for those of you that haven't been able to make it to this webinar tonight, please see Dr. Carr's email address here on the screen, and myself, my own email address as well. If you have any questions, please, we encourage you strongly to reach out. We We're used to answering any type of question. We're happy to have a phone call with you, a virtual meeting with you, to go over any musings or comments or questions, anything you might need to talk us through. Even if this might be something you're thinking of in maybe in the summer or in fall 2021, please reach out to us as soon as possible, because as we all know, those months come around very, very quickly. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And I know we have mentioned this symposium as well. So again, a reminder for save the date for this Positive Pedagogy for Sport Coaching and virtual symposium. I'm also going to be one of the presenters, so I'd love to see some of you available. I did put a QR code on this as well, so you can also take a little screenshot of the QR code and take yourself directly to the website that went live today, which is really exciting. So save the date for that, Saturday, March the 20th. There's also the link in the chat as well. So at this point, Dr. Carr, do you have any final words that you would like to make?
No, I appreciate everybody and everything they offered this evening. I will take 10 seconds and introduce Tristram Bisgrove, who's been on the call. Tristram is one of our current students. Tristram, if you just want to say a quick hello, just so that people are aware that you're part of this program as well.
Hello.
There you go.
From one of the few from Wisconsin, or the Midwest, I should say.
There you go. But Tristram's been you're in cohort 15, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so he's got a couple more semesters, and he'll be out and about. But I wanted to open up. We have a couple people that have joined us on the call. If they have any specific questions that we can answer right now, if not, you can certainly contact us, and we'd be happy to get right back with you.
So I know Tasha's just posted some questions from Romero Diaz. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that anywhere near as nicely as Romero would pronounce it. So there's a few questions. First question, what is the percentage of students that graduate and find a job related to soccer coaching, head coach, assistant coach, or directors?
Good question. The reality is pretty much everybody that joins the program is already coaching. So they have started into their career as a coach. Now, in a relatively short period of time upon completion, or even sometimes during, we have members of our program change jobs. So we've had people move from assistant jobs to head jobs, or move from a small school to a bigger school, or take on the role of director of coaching or something different with their club. There has been a lot of movement with our current students and alumni once they're involved with us, and then they have other opportunities to expand their coaching experiences.
Then the second question we have is, how can the school assist with students finding jobs in the market? A very good question.
I'll jump in on that one as well. We are really well connected in the soccer world, especially in the US. We have good international connections as well. So we're fairly well aware of openings when somebody's looking for an assistant, or somebody has created a new position, or there's club opportunities. We're fairly well in touch, so we can certainly direct our current students and alumni to opportunities that are out there that are made available to us.
And then Tasha, to caveat with that, Tasha also put in the chat, which is a really good point, Tasha, actually. We do have, Ohio has the Career Leadership and Development Center with services that are available to all Ohio students and alumni for life, including eCampus students as well. So this really is an amazing resource center, including resume help, development, and also interview help as well. I know I'm working with them on a regular basis to kind of ensure that my resume looks and is really reflecting who I am, and not just a line of here's my GPA, here's my experience. Really putting your character into that resume, and they really do have some amazing faculty. So yes, Tasha, thank you for reminding of that for us as well. The final question that we have is, does the school have connections to professional teams both in Europe and the US? If so, what are the areas of jobs or work that can be found?
And I'll defer maybe to my colleague, Dr. Harvey, because he may have a few other comments. But we are connected through United Soccer Coaches at all levels. We work closely with the Columbus Crew, as they are basically our neighbor right up the road from our campus. So we have a working relationship with them. We have contacts at many different MLS clubs. We also have some working arrangements on the performance side with a number of current and former students that are working in the performance end. The last picture that you showed, Letitia, of announcing Stephen's webinar, the coach right in the middle of that picture is the new performance coach for the Saudi Arabian national team. And he's a graduate of our campus-based program, but is a soccer coach from Brazil. So we have some connections. The sport is huge, but in reality, the sport is relatively small. So we generally will know somebody who knows somebody, and we can certainly help with making connections.
Thank you for answering that question. Dr. Harvey, did you want to add anything to that, as it talked about Europe especially?
We are trying to develop some relationships with kind of clubs and associations in Europe. So we've had a couple of discussions with the Scottish FA, for example, about some of their courses, and they're quite closely aligned to United Soccer Coaches too. So that's one thing we've been trying to do. So that's a soccer association, so you can get plugged in if someone wants to go to Europe and take their C, B, and A licenses there instead of doing them in the US. And then obviously we've got colleagues in, like myself, in Spain and Germany, and obviously the UK where we're from, where we can plug people in. I know Dr. Carr did, every now and again we do a trip, right, to Europe, and he did one to Real Madrid a few years ago, probably about 5 years ago now, I think.
Oh.
So we do organise those from time to time, but obviously it's dependent on need and the like. So we have some connections which in Europe which are growing, and some partnerships that we're kind of developing at the moment, but nothing formal as yet.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey, so much.
Thanks.
There was a last question, but the last question was, what will the students be learning in online classes? So for those of you that are watching this back, please do go back to the start of the webinar. You'll see that we spoke heavily about this in terms of what you'll learn in classes. We really covered that in extensive detail at the start of this webinar, so please go back and have a listen to that. A lot. I know I can see you typing. Are you typing a question, or is there anything you wanted to ask us out loud? If you want to, feel free to open your microphone.
Yeah, so you mentioned like people generally are coaching when they attend this course. Like, is that a prerequisite, or people like with no experience to start this and gradually then get some coaching job or something?
Yeah,
that was my question.
We generally would like somebody to have about 3 years of coaching experience, because it makes what we do in class a bit more meaningful if you have that experience of working with players and the level doesn't matter. You could be a youth coach, you could be a school coach, you could be a college coach or a pro coach. But generally having a couple of years of experience is really going to be helpful. It's We have a couple of students who started coaching while they were an undergrad student. So they've built a couple of years of experience, primarily volunteering, but they've been in it, they've been around it, and we've been able to sort of pull them in as a new young coach. So there is that possibility. We would need to talk to you and learn more about your background and so on. But generally, having a couple of years of experience is going to be beneficial.
Thank you.
Another thing that we've done is some people who have been international students have, particularly, but some US students as well, have come to our campus program where we can get them plugged in with clubs locally in the Athens area and with our men's and women's club teams here at OU, and get them some experience in delivering coaching sessions relative to soccer and be in an environment. And that way you can be on campus for a couple of years, get mentored a little bit more up close and personal with the faculty. So that's another thing you could consider doing as an option. It's not ideal, but in a unique situation that might be different for a particular student. It's not necessarily the purpose of this webinar for most people. Generally, the online programs do suit people who've already established themselves in a, like Tristram, you know, he's a school teacher. He wants to continue progressing his soccer coaching career and also use that to help him get up the ladder in his teaching job. But he doesn't want to move his family to Athens because his wife's a physician, he has children, etc. So the campus program, if you're able to be a little bit more mobile, might be something that you could look into. And Dr. Allenson, and we'll put Dr. Allenson's information in the chat, you could reach out to him and talking to him about the campus program.
Yeah, we all work in it, so we can help you if you have that interest.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions you had while you've got us all to yourself for the first time ever?
No, that was it. So actually, it was because of Platco that I got interested to know about this.
Good. Well, we appreciate you joining the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for those that are watching this back. As I mentioned earlier, please do not hesitate to reach out to us as soon as possible with any questions you have. Thank you for watching this at some point in your busy coaching lives. A lot thank you for being here live as well and asking some really golden questions. We hope you have a lovely rest of your week. Please take care, stay safe, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.